I opened my eyes, startled and blinded by the fluorescent hospital lights, and immediately felt shocked to see my hands restrained to the edges of the hospital bed by thick handcuff-shaped plastic clasps. How did I even get here? I started to piece together what memory I had access to. I had started the night with friends, pre-gaming for a new acquaintance's birthday party at a new club in Chelsea, just around the corner from Union Square. I had been living in New York City for a few months by then, just barely finding my footing. We had a special table reserved and everything felt very VIP. It was going to be a great night. I had a feeling. I drank too much champagne before we even got there. And one of my last memories was using my new camera to snap pictures of our table and all the beautiful people surrounding it. Eventually standing on one of the tables with a bottle in my hand, drinking straight out of it like I was the queen of the club. I love the feeling of being in my own music video with my own soundtrack. Everything was happening for me and I was in heaven. The anxiety I normally felt spinning around in my mind was silenced by the profuse amounts of alcohol I was downing and the attention I was attracting. Even if people were worried about me for appearing to black out and fall over, it was still attention, and I liked it. In fact, I lived for it. When I woke up restrained in the hospital, instead of feeling concerned about the state of my body or overall health, my first thought circulated around where my new camera, my jacket, and my purse were. I had a tendency of losing my stuff back then, and probably within the first 6 months of moving to New York from Southern California, for the first time without a boyfriend to babysit me, I had already lost my wallet with IDs and all of my cards 3 times. I screamed to get the doctor's attention to let me go. I had to get home to get ready for work. I had a restaurant gig later that day that I couldn't miss, or else it would be the second time I was fired from a restaurant after working there for only a few weeks. I vaguely remember fighting with the doctor to let me go, and it felt like I snuck out somehow without any of my things except my jacket, which luckily had not my camera in it, but a totally new, even better camera. So the night wasn't a wash after all. This is how disassociated I was at the time. When I look back and remember what I was prioritizing or able to garner from reality, the fact that I was so focused on external material items, how I looked instead of how I felt, and what next thing I needed to do, it shows me how disconnected I was from my inner being. I had no awareness or consciousness of my emotional state, other than it felt so bad I couldn't wait to drink more to turn it all off. It was 3 a.m., and I found myself more hungover than I'd been in a long while, despite having experiences like this a few times a week at least. I got to the diner on the corner and somehow ordered some water and an egg sandwich. I must have dined and dashed because I definitely didn't have my wallet. That's why the hospital was so easy to check out of, and since they didn't have my ID, I must not have been charged for the ambulance ride from the club to the hospital. I was a Jane Doe for all they knew. Great, I'm off the hook, I thought to myself. Another win from a somewhat awkward evening. I wondered what my friends thought of the whole thing. I did, however, need to get back to that club as soon as possible and see if I could find my wallet and anything else I had left behind. I would go later that evening, and the shame of what had happened would start to creep in as the doorman recognized me and checked in to see if I was okay. Of course I'm okay, I thought. I'm fine. Couldn't he see me now? Just give me my stuff so I can get out of here and pretend like nothing ever happened. It would be too painful to process or feel the gravity of what had actually transpired. I didn't have the capacity to even consider that as an option. It wouldn't be until years later, in early recovery from drinking and drugs, that I would start to let these repressed feelings flow, which meant that I cried for what felt like a year straight. I had so much pent-up sadness and grief and unthinkable amounts of traumatic memory from so blatantly disregarding my health and well-being.